gentlemen, I am your big bro War, and I'm here with
Pops.
Alright, and we just want to take a second to welcome you guys to the first episode of Ann's Pop. This is my father. You know, I know you guys have to be able to see the resemblance.
I could not tell the judge he was not mine.
And I was guilty as charged. You know? But so yeah, man, we just had an idea, man, to come up with this with a podcast or a vlog or what have you, just for a couple of different reasons. I'm gonna let Pops explain what this is all about.
Yeah, well, you know, my son and I, we kind of hang out a lot, and when we get together, we get real deep. We just chop it up with all kind of conversations. So my son said, you know what, Pops, I bet you other guys or other people have those same questions and deal with the same things that we talking about.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you're right, because we don't really hear it on TV.
Right.
We don't hear it in the music.
Right.
We don't really see it anywhere, but we know that families and individuals go through things all the time.
Yeah.
Just simple, everyday things that they need answers to. So we're not the authority, but we're just willing to talk about it. Yeah. So Dwan was willing to ask, and I'm willing to answer.
Right. So you know, and just for a little bit more on that, you know, Pops, he's you know, how old are you, Pops, now?
I'll be 70 in a couple months.
It don't look like it, right? So, you know, Pops has lived, he's been through a lot, he's seen a lot, you know, this is some Black history here.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? True, you know, so. But he wears it well,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, and just cool guy, man, and definitely has a lot that I personally feel like a lot of people could glean from and draw from. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it, man. You know, so where are you from? You know, your name, where you from, and where'd you grow up?
I am originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Not very few natives are still around.
Right.
Grew up over on the east side of town.
Okay.
My mom and dad, they actually was really poor. They didn't really have a whole lot. Yeah. So what I remember is my dad was in a rock and roll band for a while. And in that rock and roll band, as a kid, I experienced a lot. I experienced some things that were not good with my dad.
So let me ask you this. So rock and roll band, was it old? Like what was the rock and roll? Was it like metal, or was it kind of like?
No, it was beach music.
Beach music, okay.
Yeah, beach music.
Okay.
He and some friends started this band when they were in high school.
Okay.
One of his friends actually was the leader of the band, and my dad was the bass player.
Okay.
They had a full band, 3 singers, and the particular starter of the band actually became successful with one song.
Okay.
So from that one song,
what was that song? What was the name of the song? Stay. Okay.
Yeah, Maurice William and the Zodiacs. It was a great band back in the day.
Okay.
And so from that, my dad began to like tour and do all these kinds of things. And Mom and I, we were at home. Mom worked. You know, I was just a kid. But from that, my first experience of a dad was not a good experience because he drank a lot. You know, God rest his soul. He drank a lot. He fought my mom a lot. It was just like crazy, and we lived in the hood. It was like awful. So my first impression of a dad was not a really good impression. But long story short, Mom was able to live through it. She was a strong Black woman. She was super strong. She always told me, don't hate your dad. Even when they will fight like cats and dogs.
And I'm sure. So would you say it wasn't necessarily a single parent home? It was more of a unhealthy dual parent home, or
it was an unhealthy dual parent home.
Okay.
But Mom tried to make it as loving as she possibly could. Through all of that. So
rest in peace, Grand, man. I miss my
grandma. She was the matriarch of our family, man.
Definitely.
She was. You still got her car sitting out there.
Still hey.
Yeah, Grand had a Civic, and when she passed, Dwan got in the car and he said, "That's the memory of my grand. So we really got good, strong family history, you know.
And just a quick side note, I wrecked it. You know what I'm saying? I had about what 2-3 months and mess around and wrecked it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I felt so bad. I'm like, God, grand, I'm sorry. Please help me.
That is right.
So
I got it repaired.
Right.
And drove it a little bit and gave it back to you.
Yeah. So this time I ain't gonna wreck it.
So grand showed you, she said, I forget it. So you got it back. So, you know, long story short, 5th grade, she just felt like it was too much for me. And that's what she told me later on in life. She said, I left him because it was too much for you. I saw how it was affecting you, and I didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And she wasn't concerned with herself.
Yeah.
She was concerned with her child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way most mothers are.
Yeah.
They give up themselves for their children. But after that, it was a single parent home.
Right.
And
so let me ask you this. So I don't want to cut you off, but I just had a thought. So as a man, right? Because I know a lot of people watching may be in that sort of an environment. You know, there's a lot of kids coming up that's in that sort of an environment. Right. There may be even guys watching that may be fighting their demons and you know, may not express their anger and frustration in the best of ways. Can you give a little insight, if you remember, how did that impact you as a young kid, the fighting and the you know, the what you can remember?
Yeah. What I remember was I was always afraid for my mother. It was never afraid for me, but it was always, I was afraid for her. Yeah. And every time he would come home, the first thing I would want to see was he intoxicated? Okay. Had he been drinking?
Yeah.
You know, and if he wasn't drinking, then things were pleasant. But if he was drinking, that's when the fear set in. And that's one of the things that men deal with a lot is they don't know how to sociably drink. It's the pressures of life cause them to really drink or do drugs to get away from the pressure. And I'm sure that's what it was with him. He didn't know how to really do life. Yeah. You know, he was in the band at an early age, and when they say wine, women, and song, that's what they mean, because at 19, I was in that same band.
The exact same band?
The exact same band at age 19.
Wow.
I left home at 18.
Okay.
Growing up in the hood, I had my moments where, you know, I did drugs, sold drugs, all of the whole thing. Yeah. And my mom, she said, look, you know, that's when I was around 17. She said, if you're going to do that, you're going to do it in this house. Right. You know, even living in the hood, she wanted me to have an out of the hood mentality. Right. She wanted the best for me. Right. So she said, if you're going to do this, you got to get out. Right. And so she made me stop selling it while I was in the house. Right. And I got a job. You know, I was working, going to school, got a job. So when I got 18, she made me save enough money. I got my own place. Okay. So that was where when I got married, Village Townhouses was my first. That was when I was 18. That's the place I got and moved out on my own. Yeah. That's when I really started becoming a man or a male. Right. Because I never saw a man. Even in the hood, there was never one man that I could look to and say I was inspired by him. Now it was one family. It was a husband, wife. They had 2 daughters and a son. That I admired the family. Right. But I never knew enough about the man. But I knew that as a family that they were a family. And I think I had dinner with them once. Okay. And they all sat at the table. Yeah. You know, they bowed their head and said grace. All those things that really impressed me. But I never saw a man in my entire growing up years that I could say that I admired, other than what you see on TV. Yeah. But again, that's acting.
So let me ask you this. So a lot of times, different guys that come up in, you know, urban environments or the hood, it's like a lot of times they would admire the drug dealers or, you know, the pimps, the players, the guys that's come around that big bankroll of money. I'm pretty sure there were those same sorts of guys in your neighborhood. What was it about that? You know, was it the fact that lifestyle didn't appeal to you at that time, or was it just that, you know, your mom or grand had such an effect on you that you knew that that wasn't what you wanted to be, that you wanted something else for your life, that would cause you to look for other examples of what a man is.
Yeah. Well, there were drug dealers, because I actually hooked up with one and tried to sell drugs.
Right.
There were pimps in the neighborhood that had the little young girls that dropped out of school.
Yeah.
You know, there are also the wannabe thugs. But what I saw from them was danger, because I saw all the fighting and what my mom and dad went through, and the danger of that. Yeah. And I saw even in the lives of the drug dealer, they were always getting raided. The cops were always there.
Yeah.
And even with the pimps, I saw how they treated the women.
Yeah.
Is that they had to go and sell their body and bring their money back. They were, to me, they were not inspiring not because they didn't have the money, but because of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
To cause the money.
Yeah.
And it wasn't safety, it wasn't peace, it was always some fear around the corner. Okay. So I never gravitated to them as a role model.
Okay.